Protesting could soon become a thing of luxury at any drill site in the United States, courtesy of new laws co-crafted by the oil lobby. Aside from forcing demonstrators to shell out $5,000 for a rally permit, the bill would also excuse the federal government from regulating the fracking industry. Gayana Chichikan now reports.
When Romania granted the U.S. oil giant Chevron more than 1 million acres of land to drill for shale deposits, thousands of Romanians took to the streets to protest. They soon found out there was little they could do to protect their soil. In Poland, farmers stood up against Chevron to fight fracking, to no avail. Fracking pumps a high-pressure cocktail of water, sand and chemicals deep underground to release shale gas from bedrock. Environmentalists say it has the potential to trigger earthquakes as well as pollute groundwater and the surrounding countryside.
The problems with shale gas mining in Poland is a question of secretiveness and kind of not telling people the real truth about what's going on, and not always never telling the other side, the downside. And I discovered this to be true with the Polish government and Polish authorities, because they are, in fact, on the side of these big corporations.
Lech Kowalski partly shot his documentary Drill Baby Drill in Poland. He says Polish state television refused to broadcast it.
You know, normal people can get the information to fight against these big corporations, and the normal people, you know, the middle-class people, their objective is really to protect the land here, to protect their place. And the Chevron, the corporations are here to exploit the land, and they're going to leave, but the farmers will be here, and this is really what the fight is about.
U.S. energy giants drill both abroad and at home, and Congress has been more than helpful to them domestically. This week, the House of Representatives passed a bill that would impose a $5,000 fee on anyone wishing to stage an official protest against the drilling project. To become law, the bill also needs to make its way through the Senate before being signed by the president.
This is a pathetic, sad, silly attempt by industry to squelch democracy.
Opponents of fracking on both sides of the Atlantic are even more fearful about the future of the democratic process as their governments and major corporations negotiate free trade agreements like the one between the U.S. and the EU. That would effectively enable American companies to bypass European courts and challenge EU governments at international tribunals whenever they felt that laws in the areas of public health, the environment, or social protection interfere with their profits. And the opponents say it would give transnationals even greater access to their soil and leave the people with even less say about their land. Gayana Chichikan, RT.
And Dr. Tony Juniper, one of Britain's leading environmentalists, tells us there'll be a serious price to pay in the future.
Makes more money for some people in the short term, and those people happen to have very powerful leverage over government institutions. This is not about whether this is a better energy source or not in an economic sense. It's basically a rigged market. The environmental costs are not being paid for by the shale gas companies. Therefore, we get a false illusion as to this being a cheap energy source, when in fact it's only cheap now because we're passing on the costs of it being used into the future for our children and grandchildren. Indeed, we're already beginning to see some of the costs of this kind of energy being used in the present. And that hurricane that hit the Philippines a couple of weeks ago is an example of the kind of extreme weather conditions that we can expect to accompany rapid warming of the Earth's atmosphere.